Reaching the summit of Mount Everest is considered one of the greatest physical achievements a human being can pursue. The highest point on Earth, 29,032 feet above sea level, the place where the atmosphere is so thin that the body begins to deteriorate simply by being there, where frostbite takes fingers and toes and hours, where storms arrive without warning, and the margin between success and death can be measured in minutes. The image of Everest is triumph, a person, exhausted and exhilarated, standing at the top of the world. The reality of Everest is more complicated, and the distance between those two things, between the image and the reality, is what this video is actually about. Here's what they didn't tell you about Mount Everest. Everest stands at 29,032 feet, the highest point on Earth by elevation above sea level, located in the Himalayas on the border of Nepal and Tibet. The mountain was first summited on May 29, 1953, by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, whose names are among the most recognized in the history of exploration. In the decades since, the number of people attempting to summit has grown steadily. During the spring climbing season, which is the primary weather window for ascent, hundreds of climbers attempt the mountain each year. In recent years, that number has exceeded 1,000 for the season as a whole. The total number of people who have summited exceeds 6,000. It is a significant number for a mountain that was first climbed within living memory. The change in who climbs it has been just as significant as the change in how many do. Pause for a second. Climbing Everest requires money, a significant amount of it. A permit from the Nepalese government alone currently costs between $11,000 and $17,000 per climber, depending on the season and group size. When expedition costs are added, including guides, equipment, logistics, acclimatization camps, and the support infrastructure that makes the climb possible, the total cost for a commercially guided attempt routinely runs between $30,000 and $100,000. Some high-end guided expeditions cost considerably more. That financial threshold has changed the mountain in ways that are still being debated within the climbing community and beyond it. In the early decades after the first ascent, Everest expeditions were undertaken almost exclusively by highly experienced mountaineers with technical skills developed over years of serious climbing. The financial and logistical demands of a guided commercial expedition, which now handles most of the technical complexity on behalf of the client, have made the summit accessible to people whose primary qualification is the financial resources to pay for the service. When access to extreme achievement depends on money, what is actually being accomplished? That question is not meant dismissively. Completing a guided ascent of Everest remains a genuine physical ordeal. The altitude, the cold, and the duration of the effort are not made easier by the cost of the expedition. Someone who reaches the summit, regardless of how much support they received, has been through something real. The question is not whether it is hard. The question is what kind of achievement it represents when the most technically difficult elements are handled by people whose names will not appear in the headlines. And this is where it changes. Those people are the Sherpas and high-altitude workers whose role in Everest expeditions is foundational to their success. The Sherpa community of Nepal has been central to Himalayan climbing since the early 20th century. Their physiological adaptation to high altitude, developed over generations of living at elevation, gives them a biological advantage in the thin air above 8,000 meters that lowland climbers cannot replicate regardless of training. Their knowledge of the mountain, accumulated over decades of guiding and support work, is the foundation on which every commercial expedition is built. The specific work that Sherpa guides and high-altitude porters do on Everest includes establishing and stocking the high camps that make the summit attempt possible, fixing the ropes that commercial clients clip into and follow from the lower reaches of the mountain to the summit, carrying loads that can exceed 60 pounds at elevations where simply breathing requires sustained effort, and in the event of emergency, performing rescues at altitudes that would ground most rescue helicopters. Now look at this. The most dangerous sections of an Everest expedition are also the sections where the work of high-altitude workers is most concentrated. The Khumbu Icefall, the chaotic glacier that must be crossed to reach the higher camps, is where the greatest concentration of Sherpa-related deaths has historically occurred. Seracs, towers of ice that can collapse without warning, fall on people crossing below them. Crevasses, hidden or open, must be bridged with ladders that the icefall doctors, a team of Sherpas whose specific job is to route and maintain the passage, install and maintain throughout the season. In April 2014, an avalanche on the icefall killed 16 Sherpa guides. It was the deadliest single incident in the history of Everest. The people who died were not clients attempting their personal summit dreams, they were workers, carrying loads for clients who were still lower on the mountain. The risk distribution on Everest is not equal. The People who perform the most technically dangerous and physically demanding work on the mountain are not the people who receive the public recognition for the summit. And the compensation structures, while they have improved significantly in recent years, and while Sherpa guiding has become a genuinely important economic opportunity for many families in the region, have historically not reflected the level of risk involved. If the most dangerous part of an achievement is carried by someone else, whose achievement is it? That question does not have a clean answer. The clients who reached the summit were physically present for the climb. Their effort was real, the support structure that made it possible was also real, and the people who provided that support took risks that the clients did not fully share. Both of those things are true simultaneously, and the tension between them is one that the image of Everest tends to smooth over. The image of Everest, as it has been constructed in popular culture, is a story about individual human achievement. A person, alone in an extreme environment, summiting the highest point on Earth through will, training, and courage. That image is real in the sense that it captures something genuine about what the summit represents. But the reality behind the image is a logistical operation involving dozens of people, most of whom will not appear in the photograph taken at the top, a supply chain that begins months before the climbing season with the establishment of base camp, a fixed rope system that makes the technical climbing accessible to people who could not navigate the mountain without it, and a risk structure in which the most dangerous work is done by the people who are paid to do it, rather than the people who chose to be there. And this is where people start to disagree. Some climbers and observers argue that the commercialization of Everest has diminished the achievement it represents, that the guided expedition model has converted what was once a genuine test of mountaineering skill into something closer to an expensive adventure tourism product, that the people on the fixed ropes, following a path established and maintained by someone else, are not really climbing Everest in the sense that Hillary and Norgay climbed Everest. Others argue that this framing is elitist, that the financial and logistical gatekeeping of an earlier era simply excluded people who lacked the specific credentials of the mountaineering community, that a guided ascent is still a genuine physical achievement, that the Sherpa guides themselves are doing work they have chosen, and that represents economic opportunity and cultural pride, not simply exploitation, that the ethics of risk distribution are more complicated than any summary makes them appear. The bodies on the mountain are part of this conversation too. There are approximately 200 bodies on Everest that have not been recovered. The extreme altitude, the technical difficulty of retrieval, and the danger to would-be rescuers make recovery impossible in most cases. Some of these bodies have been on the mountain for decades. Some are visible from the standard routes. Some have been given names by the climbing community and serve informally as waypoints. The public image of Everest as a symbol of triumph, and the reality of Everest as a place where some people who attempted to remain permanently is a contrast that the image tends not to include. The mountain is simultaneously a site of achievement and a site of loss. Both of those things are real. Both are part of what the mountain is. When a place becomes both a symbol of achievement and a site of permanent loss, how should it actually be understood? The reframe is this: Mount Everest is not just a mountain, it is a system of ambition, economics, risk distribution, and cultural meaning that makes the summit possible for the people who reach it and impossible for the vast majority of people who ever live. That system involves genuine human achievement. It also involves labor and risk that are distributed unequally. And the image that survives, the triumphant photograph, the listed name in the record books, represents the achievement without representing the system that produced it. The summit is real. The achievement is real. The question is, what exactly is being achieved and by whom? So here's the question worth sitting with. If reaching the top of the world depends on a system of support, risk, and unequal roles, how should we define what it means to climb the highest mountain on Earth? And who gets to decide whether the definition needs to change? Tell me in the comments what you think, because the answer says something about how we understand achievement in general, not just about one mountain in the Himalayas.